الرحمن الرحيم.
عما يتساءلون عن النبأ العظيم الذي هم فيه مختلفون كلا سيعلمون ثم كلا سيعلمون ألم نجعل الأرض مهادا والجبال أوتادا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. May the peace and mercy and blessings of Allah be upon you. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, and I also bear witness that Muhammad is the last messenger and servant and slave of Allah. Welcome to Islamic Perspectives. You can reach us at 713-807-1794 if you have any questions concerning the topic that we're going to speak about today, inshallah. And you can also reach us at www.WhyIslam-TX.org if you have any further questions after the show. Inshallah, we will talk about the Torah and the Jews, inshallah, today. And we have a distinguished guest, my dear brother, assalamu alaikum, brother Jim. And he's a good Muslim brother, and inshallah, he will inshallah spread some knowledge to us and allow us to learn from him, inshallah, today. And we want to keep this topic very vibrant and active so that we can have a dialogue between the callers, inshallah. So, brother, one of the questions that I will ask you first is the Torah. As Muslims, we say we believe in the Torah that was revealed to Musa alayhi salam, but is that Torah that is present today considered to be the original?
Well, a lot of people make the common mistake that when they open a Torah, when they open the first 5 books of Moses, they make the mistake of thinking that that is the actual writing of Moses. If you study the Torah, if you go to classes on the Torah, if you go to a Jewish synagogue and ask about the Torah, you'll find out first that the Torah was written by 5 separate people. Moses did not write all of the Torah. Then when you delve a little bit deeper into it, you find out that there's a whole history behind the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. Now in that history, if you're asking about the original, what do you believe in? When Muslims say that they believe in the Torah, they believe in the Torah that Moses wrote, or that Moses taught to his disciples, and they wrote down at that time. This Torah was contained in a scroll. It was written in ancient Hebrew, and it was contained in a scroll. And that scroll was kept by scribes. It was studied by scribes. It was never reproduced in mass because it wasn't common to reproduce things like that in mass back then. They didn't have mass printing like we do today. A lot of people think that, well, it's impossible to get distorted because they could just mass produce it and spread it everywhere. People did not have a Torah scroll in their homes. It was contained, the Torah scroll that Moses had was carried around in the ark, alongside of the Ark of the Covenant. Right. And eventually that was put in the first temple that was built by Solomon. And that's where it existed at that time. That is the Torah that Muslims believe in, because that's the Torah that came from Moses himself. Later on, after the temple was built, Solomon built the temple. They had the Torah. They had their religious rituals and things going on. There came along the Babylonian invasion. Now there was a lot going on in Israel at the time. At that time, Israel was 12 tribes, but it was engulfed in a civil war. It was a civil war between 11 of the tribes and the tribe of Judah. It was like they were separate countries. They were warring factions between each other, between Judah and the 11 tribes. The Torah scroll was held in the temple among the Levites, because the Levites were the priest tribe. They were the guardians of the religion, the Torah, all of the sacraments that Jews had to go and do had to go through the Levites. Now, when the Babylonian invasion happened, it completely decimated Israel. The Israelite section. It didn't decimate Judah because Judah was strong. It was a warrior tribe. But the other 11 tribes were totally decimated and the people killed or exiled throughout the land. When Babylon invaded the tribe of Levi, they spared nothing. They burned the temple. They burned the Torah scroll that existed at that time, and they carted off all of the gold and the other valuables back to Babylon. Now, Judah at that time existed for quite some time after that, and this was about the time, I think, that the prophet Jeremiah came about.
Okay.
And he was foretelling the destruction of Judah. And Judah was so proudful, so arrogant, that they didn't believe that Jeremiah was telling the truth, so much that they persecuted him. And eventually, the Babylonians came, and as per the prophecies of Jeremiah, Judah fell. At that time, there was no Torah that existed. It was completely destroyed. Mm-hmm. So the Torah that Muslims believe in no longer exists. The Torah that Jews claim to believe in no longer exists. What they are looking at today is something that was rewritten by Prophet Ezra back in the time. If anybody reads the book of Nehemiah, we'll find the story of Ezra and the fact that the Jews that had been exiled into Babylon during the time of Ezra is a very nationalistic time for them, because they were finally going to get, I believe it was the Persians, were finally going to allow them to come back to the land of Israel. They even helped them rebuild the Second Temple. So it was a very nationalistic time. And Ezra, having been a priest himself, having studied the Torah scroll itself, he knew what was in it, rewrote. He was elected to be the one to rewrite the Torah as he remembered it from memory. So in this nationalistic state that they had at that time, that they were God's favorites and that they were returning to the land, and that God had blessed them and God's going to bless the nation that blesses them, he rewrote the Torah in that mindset. And so the Torah that exists today is based off of that Torah that he wrote. However, that Torah that he wrote was eventually destroyed also. And then it was, by then they had copies of that, because Jews were scattered throughout the nations. There were copies of that in Greek.
Alhamdulillah. So we see from what you've just explained to us that the people of Israel the Jews do not have an original copy of their book. And they basically, what they have is a reinvented version of it, but a lot of things have been added and a lot of things have been taken out. So in my opinion, to attribute this from a human mind to the Creator, and think that the Creator had decreed these things that we find in this book, really in actuality, God did not decree none of these things.
Correct.
But the Quran says that even in that book that they have created and reinvented, you will find truth in it. Mm-hmm. So my next question would be, dear brother, the Jews, would God choose a nationalistic religion for the Jews and the rest of the world be left to go astray? Is this the type of Creator that we worship, that he would only choose the Jews and say that these are my people, and the rest of the world, which he has created, they go astray?
See, I think what a lot of people need to understand first and foremost is that God created everything. He loves every creature on this earth, from the smallest bacteria up to the largest creature that can exist. He loves his entire creation. He loves even inanimate objects. He created the earth. He cares for the earth. He created rules by which the earth can exist. God, Allah, would certainly not despise any part of his creation to want to destroy it, or to want to choose a master race above it.
Right.
Okay. The Jews themselves come from Judah. That's one tribe. That's the tribe that was the only tribe that was able to withstand the onslaught of Babylonians. The other 11 tribes were decimated. So were the other 11 tribes Jews? They were not, because Jews come from Judah.
Right.
They were Hebrews. And these Hebrews are one race of people. So for a Jew to say that, or for somebody to say that the Jews are God's chosen people, that's entirely incorrect, and it's even unbiblical if you read the Bible today in its distorted form today. If you read it, you can still see the fact that Jews are not God's chosen people. The Hebrews had a line of prophets. God favored them with a line of prophets more than other races, but God sent prophets and messengers to every nationality, every race of people.
Okay. I think we have a caller. Thank you for calling Islamic Perspectives.
How you doing?
I'm doing just fine, brother.
Well, I just have a comment from what the guy just said.
Make your comment very brief, brother.
Yes, sir. He was just saying how
Could you turn your TV down?
I'm sorry, sir. He was saying how the Jews wasn't the only chosen people of God. Okay, that is true, but you know that in the Bible, the chosen people of God is the people that takes God only begotten Son Jesus as their Savior. It says that in the Bible.
Well, we understand what the Bible says, but what we want to convey to you is the history of the Bible. And I think that most Christians and Jews or Hebrews overlook that fact of the history of the compilation of this book. They overlook this most important part of their book, and they just go blindly with their faith without studying the facts. You see, because this is one thing as a Muslim, we know that facts will never lie. Just like in mathematics, you know, 1 + 1 is 2. That will never be a lie. So basically what we're trying to convey to you, dear brother, is that the history that you're getting from us, once you go back and investigate it before you make the statement, because what he just said, Brother Jim, is also the same mistake that the Christians made, the Jews made. The Jews, you know, like you just said earlier, followed and created a nationalistic religion for themselves, and the Christians followed behind them and said that we are God's only people because we believe in Jesus, peace and blessing be upon him. So they made the same mistake, but both of them overlooked the fact of the history in between this. And this is the part that we're trying to convey to you, brother. So thank you for your call, brother. Hopefully,
can I just say one more short comment?
Yeah, go
ahead.
It's not
that I'm saying that the Jews or the Christians are God's chosen people. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying God's chosen people are the people that takes Christ as their Savior. Those are God's chosen people. That's what I'm saying. It could be a Jew. It could be anyone. It could be black, white. It's not a race. It's not how should I say this? A group of different people. It is the people that accept Jesus as their Savior. Because remember, Jesus died for all our sins.
I mean, that's your belief, brother. Basically, brother, that's your belief. And
no, I mean,
basically what you're giving me is an opinion, brother.
Also what the Bible says.
I understand that, but you still have overlooked the fact. You have not responded to the facts that have been presented to you. Now, what do you have to say about the history that was just presented to you about how the Bible was compiled and how the Torah was compiled? You overlooked all of that and jumped right into your faith, and you overlooked the facts that were presented to you. And I'm asking you, what do you have to say about those facts that were presented before you go trying to explain to me your theological point of view?
I'm not trying to.
Yes, you are. You overlook what I want. Since you had a comment, dear brother, what is your name?
My name is Patrick, sir.
Patrick.
Yes, sir.
This is what I want you to tell me.
Yes, sir.
About the facts that I've just presented to you through my dear brother Muslim here, Jim. What do you have to say about that? Not your theological point as far as the people and all of this. I want to know, what do you have to say about the facts?
I did not call you to tell you your facts was wrong. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, I understand what you're saying. You're giving me your opinion about the people.
On this gentleman when he was saying how the Jews, the Jewish people think that they are the chosen people.
Yes, and the Christians think that they're the chosen people as well, because they believe that if they only have Prophet Isa, Jesus, peace and blessing be upon him, they are saved. So they have the same belief, but it's just different.
Do you believe, I mean, well, I know you don't believe that, but it's only one way. There's only one way to get to God.
And that way is La ilaha illallah, There is nothing worthy of worship besides Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. That's the only way, brother. To submit my will only to Allah, not anything that he has created, no prophet. We don't bow down to any prophet, any human being. We only bow down to the one who created us. That's the only way, brother. Any other way is a way straight to hell. And that's just keeping it real with you, dear brother.
You might be blind to the fact, but
I'm blind.
The only way, I'm gonna tell you, the only way. I'm not trying to disrespect you.
You're not gonna disrespect me, brother.
I'm just trying to say.
I respect the fact that you are still in the you don't know right now. So right now you're only presenting to me out of your ignorance of what you think you know about your religion. You're trying to tell me about what we're talking about. We're presenting facts. You have not yet presented one fact to me. Everything that you're presenting to me, dear brother, is based on your opinion. And dear brother, I want to get back to our topic. I don't want to continue this conversation any further, brother. What I suggest that you do, dear brother, is study the facts. And the facts will never lie. That's what you need to do, dear brother. Study the facts. I hear you. Brother, you can live with that and die with that belief.
And I will.
And I thank you for calling the show.
I think what he could be trying to say is something Islamic, but in his own way. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, there is no black man or white man. There is no Arab or non-Arab. God only favors us through righteousness and good deeds. So the person who does righteousness and good deeds is favored above those who do wicked deeds.
Now, after I go to this caller, I want you to explain to me from your, understanding about, did God give the Jews the promise of a holy land? Or was this promise for all of the seed of Abraham? And what was this promise based on? And I think that brother should pay attention to what you have to say about that promise that Abraham was given. What was it? What was the foundation of that promise?
Well, the very foundation of that promise was because of Abraham's faith. I think every Christian, every Muslim, and every Jew can agree with that. Abraham was given a promise of living in a fertile land, not decimating it, not annihilating people, but living in it because of his faith. And that faith was not just to Abraham, it was to his seed. It wasn't to any one part of his seed. It wasn't to any one ethnicity that results is from his seed. It was to his seed. Everybody that was born to Abraham. Okay, and as we know, Ishmael, being the firstborn son, was Abraham's seed. So was Isaac. Isaac was Abraham's seed. So they both, if you even look in the Bible, you can see remnants of the truth. Ishmael was guaranteed that he would become a father of a great nation. The Arabs. And when God says stuff like that, when God says you'll become the father of a great nation as a result of Abraham's faith, that means that there's going to be prophets that come from you that lead the people to God. And God also said the same thing about Abraham's seed with Isaac. And God followed through on both. So with regards to the faith of Abraham, God promised the Holy Land to Abraham's seed. Who's in the Holy Land now? Jews, Hebrews, and Arabs. That's Abraham's seed.
And that would explain what's going on today, because these are two seeds of Abraham fighting against each other. Now, one group is saying, hey, we just want our rights as a human being. The other group is saying this land is promised to us because we are the chosen seed. We are the chosen people of God. So this land, Palestine, belongs to us because God promised us to it. But God never promised them a physical place of living as that this would be your land. But this land was promised to both the seed of Abraham's sons, Isaac and Ishmael. So this fighting over it is what I think nationalistic. It has turned into something nationalistic. And anybody that truly wants to understand what is going on, all they need to do is go back and read the history, and it'll show you why these things are happening in Palestine. And I think we have another caller, so hopefully we get a chance to answer his question. Thank you for calling Islamic Perspectives.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Brother, can you please tell me in order the first 5 books of the Torah? And isn't that, didn't they say that Jesus was a man? So explain to me how we're supposed to be saved for our sins through a commandery man who bled, who cried and who prayed to God. If he was God, then who was he praying to? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah. Brother Jim, could you take that?
Okay, well, I don't know about if I'll get the order correct. Genesis, Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Leviticus are the first 5 books of the Torah. And Moses worked on, I believe, Genesis and part of Exodus. And 4 other people completed the rest of it. With regards to our other question.
Our other question was, as far as being saved, because the brother says, the previous caller, his thing was, if you believe in Isa alayhi salam dying for you, then you would be saved. As Muslims, our belief is not to believe that a human being who cried, died, eats and sleeps can save us. This is the Muslim perspective. But the Christian perspective is that we're so sinful, we are so bad and so evil that God cannot forgive us. So we have made our sin greater than the forgiveness of the Creator. And I think that's where the problem comes in with the Jews and not Jews, but the Christians, is that they have made the sin of Adam so great that Allah, God, cannot forgive it. But as a Muslim, we believe that Allah is so great that there's nothing that you can do except the committing of shirk, associating partners with God. That is a great sin that Allah will not forgive. But any other sin other than that, God tells us in the Quran that He is all-forgiving and most merciful. So I, inshallah, partly answered that sister's question for you. Inshallah, I know we have another caller, and we're going to try to, inshallah, get as many people calling as we can. Thank you for calling Islamic Perspectives.
Yeah, I got a question for you. So you do believe in Jesus, right?
Yes, we do.
Well, I'm saying, like, if you believe in Jesus, then don't Jesus love everybody, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't get it. We all believe in Jesus, and what we
No,
you know what I'm saying?
it is not that we all believe in Jesus, brother. It's how we believe in Jesus. That's the thing. The Jews did not believe in Jesus because they said what?
They said he was deceived. He was the son of the devil.
Right. And the Christians believe in Jesus because they believe that he was the son of God.
Right.
But the Muslims believe that Jesus was a prophet and a sign to the children of Israel. That God, when he says be, it is. That he can create anything just by saying be. And that is the perspective that the Muslim have, which we believe is the correct perspective, because we do not, as Muslims, make God a human. Or we don't take anything in creation as something that we worship. So this is what distinguishes us as Muslims from the Christians, the Jews. This is what distinguishes us, brother. That's why it's a difference. That's why, brother.
But I'm saying, Jesus is not no human. All the things he did.
He's not a human?
I mean, he is human, but I'm saying, that's the son of God,
And how did you come to that? What is your proof of that?
The Bible.
And that's it. What other proof do you have?
And I just, like, all the people come from the world, I know they believe in Jesus. Like me, I don't believe. I'm a Baptist myself, but I don't go to church that much because I see a lot of corruption,
Okay, let me stop you right there. Let's just deal with this brother right quick. Okay, you said you were a Baptist, right?
Yeah.
What was Jesus?
What was Jesus?
I say, what was he? What was his practice? What was his religion?
He was Jewish, huh?
Right. He was a Jew. So you say you are a follower of Jesus, so was Jesus a Baptist?
Nah, he wasn't a Baptist, but
okay.
He said anybody.
Okay, let's stop right there before we go farther.
Anybody who
Hold up, because I want you to get this. I want you to capture what I'm saying to you. Jesus was a Jew, right?
Right.
We agree on that.
Yeah, we agree on that.
Now, you say that you're a Baptist, right?
Right.
And I'm saying, how are you following Jesus? If Jesus was a Jew and you're a Baptist, you cannot be following Jesus.
Because I'm following Jesus.
No, you're not, because Jesus was a Jew.
Nah, I don't believe that, though.
Okay, inshallah, hold up. Because I want to dialogue with you, and I want to, inshallah, try to get you to see something. I just want you to listen for a second without debating. Just listen, brother. You might learn something. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, if we look at the history, even if we take the Bible, let's take the Bible at its word.
Okay.
Okay, let's take the Gospels at its word. You would have to explain to me what Jesus was doing celebrating the Festival of Lights, Passover, the Day of Atonement, and all of the other Jewish rituals. See, Jesus, peace be upon him, came and his message was to the Jews. He even said that himself in the Bible. Okay, when he came to the Jews, he came with a revolutionary message to them, because to them it would being a Hebrew, okay, or a Jew was a state religion. It wasn't something that you were active in personally. Jesus came and made it a personal religion. He brought Judaism to the hearts of the people.
Right.
Okay, and he brought he came practicing, he came preaching, and he came with a message that said, I am the Messiah of the Jews.
Right.
So that means that his mission, he even said his mission was to the Jews. Where we make the mistake is that we include the books of Paul in with the Bible. Why do we do that? Because historically those books were put in there by our church Christian forefathers.
Yes.
Well,
right.
who are they?
Exactly.
They never knew Jesus.
Exactly.
And who is Paul? Paul said he was an apostle, right? But we know that there's only 12 apostles. Historically, there's only 12 apostles.
Because there were 12 tribes.
Right. Judas killed himself, right? According to Acts chapter 12, the criteria for choosing another apostle to replace Judas was that that person must have walked with Jesus from start to finish in his ministry on earth. Okay? And who did they choose? Did they choose Paul?
No.
They chose Matthias. So Paul comes along later on and says, I'm a self-proclaimed apostle. And he never sees Jesus. He only sees light, and then he goes blind. And the people around him only see light, and he hears a voice.
Right.
We'd say that's Satan, because Satan can appear as an angel of light.
Exactly.
Right? And anybody can talk to you in your ear. Okay? So Paul, being self-appointed, you have to take his books and set them aside, because he never knew Jesus. He didn't fit the criteria that the original disciples set down. So historically speaking, Jesus was a Jew, and we have to follow Jesus' example.
Did you get that, brother?
Yeah, I got that.
Now, check this out. This is what I want you to do for me. And the next time the show is on, I want you to call back.
All right.
This is what I want you to do. Put the books of Paul to the side, okay? And I want you to read the 4 Gospels, not chapter after chapter, but I want you to read them horizontally, not vertically, meaning one chapter after the other. I want you to read horizontal. I want you to read about the same story in Matthew, go to John and read about the same story, go to Mark and read about the same story, and go to Luke and read about the same story, and see how they all contradict each other. This will let you know that what you have is not original, but it's copies of the copies of the copies of the so-called original gospel that was given to Jesus. Peace and blessing be upon you.
I got one question. I got one question for you.
Okay.
You know, Jesus didn't do nothing, never wrong, right?
Okay.
That's why I believe in him so much. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love him.
I understand that, brother. I understand that. But
man, you know, he forgive you as long as you repent, as long as you do what's right for him. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying there, brother. But please do that for me, brother. I thank you for calling, brother.
Got you. Thank you, man. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
I mean, we're going to have to end the show in a couple of more minutes. So, brother, what can you say in closing before we leave?
Basically, God chose no master race. Just like Adolf Hitler wasn't chosen to lead the Aryans into paradise. God did not choose Jews over the Hebrews or over the rest of the world to be the chosen people to gain all of the inheritance of paradise. He chose those who do righteous deeds and who worship him alone. And when we start placing items in front of God, when we start placing nationality or people or rocks or stones, animals before God, then we're wrongdoers and we are not dwellers of the paradise.
Alhamdulillah. So, brother Jim, we thank you for coming to the show and giving this knowledge. We thank you for tuning in to the show Islamic Perspectives, and we hope that you tune in next week for another show. And hopefully, inshallah, this was a learning experience for you. So we thank you for watching the show. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. May the peace and mercy of Allah be upon you.